And we are live.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Mecca of Banter podcast. I'm telling you, I'm going to get a soundboard one of these
Gotta
days.
do it. Gotta do it. Don't just talk about it, be about it.
Do it. All right, boys. It's been a crazy January. It's about to be over. We're going to have a crazy jam-packed episode for everyone listening. We're going to give an FA Cup recap of all the games, talk about some of our teams, their upcoming Prem, and then do a little transfer window talk as well. But how about we do a little check-in, boys? How we feeling? You want to introduce yourselves and do a little clock in real quick?
What's up, gentlemen?
Yeah, man. Oh, go Winks.
Yeah,
go, baby.
Winks here at LCW21 on Twitter. Tough L on Friday against City, but we'll dive into that a little more here soon. But excited to be here and excited to see your guys' faces as usual.
Sheesh.
Thanks, man. That's really nice of you.
Such a great mood over there.
Yeah. It's Hen at Henry Wind on Twitter. It's still a great week to be a Manchester United fan, but man, Connor and I, like, every 6 months we get into this space of, like, we're approaching deadline day and we haven't done anything the entire window. And, like, when I say you have no idea what Manchester United is going to do tomorrow on deadline day, you just don't know. We got Odi and Igalo last year at this time, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. I mean, just completely out of nowhere.
Who?
So
I'd take him tomorrow.
I would take him tomorrow as well. So it's a great week to be a Manchester United fan. I'm here.
What, you want to go next?
What's up, man? Bucci Mane. I'm not gonna even mention my Twitter because it's silent because I won't be tweeting about Liverpool. Bad year. I'm in the slumps. But I'm happy to be here with the fellas, man.
I was gonna say, Butchie, I know it's hard to talk about the squad right now, but I've been missing your presence on the pod, I will say.
He's been
Yeah,
ducking us a
bring it
little
back.
bit. He's been ducking us a little bit.
Hey.
No, not ducking. I'm not ducking. No. I'm just, busy. Glad to be back. I'm gonna roll it over to Dobes, the assistant.
Fellas, it's great to see all of you. I'm your boy Dobes at CDobes10. I will say I consider all of you guys good friends, and not a single person here has told me happy holidays. Not a single person has told me happy holidays. Does anybody know what the holiday is?
Oh, here we go.
3 years ago today, the best midfielder in the Prem joined United, and not one single person told me happy holidays. That's so disrespectful of you guys.
I didn't realize it was a holiday.
It's
Yes.
a holiday.
Dubs took off work today.
I took
gonna
off
say.
work just to celebrate. Since
Well, you know what?
18, 45 goals, assists a season. Oh my goodness, what a player.
This definitely is not a holiday for any of us except for you and Hen. So you should be bantering your fellow United supporter here on him not wishing you a happy day.
That's my bad.
I'm gonna say I still have no idea what you're talking about.
Come on.
All right. Well, obviously it's me, Hafey4 on Twitter. I wanted to get right into the FA Cup recap, and I thought it was hilarious that I was the one that was bringing that segment in because Chelsea is out of the FA Cup. So you guys can take it away and give recaps on how your team's played. So, yay.
I think we got to start Winks. We got to start City.
Yeah.
City Arsenal. We have to start City Arsenal.
Yeah, that's fine. It is what it is.
Finally takes an L, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, just down in the dumps.
No,
man.
I'm actually very level-headed about all this. But yeah, so we fell out of the FA Cup on Friday against City on a very well-composed Nathan Ake half volley in the 64th minute. Great finish, to be fair. But overall, especially taking into account the lineups, I still believe we were the better team. And I know that that's a tough thing to say when you lose, but I truly believe that. I think that City's side looked almost identical to Pep's normal first team, whereas we had 6 normal starters on the bench. And all of which didn't see the field until after halftime, except for Saliba, who came in extra time in the first half. It was kind of a boring game, to be fair, and I think that we talked about that in the group chat throughout Friday afternoon. But 8 shots for City to our 5, but only 2 of City's shots were inside our box, and all but 1 of ours were inside theirs. And I think that's a huge takeaway in our ability to keep Haaland off of the end of crosses and through balls around the 6, where he's been most dangerous all season. And we had a few chances. Tomiyasu had a great one early on in the game. Trossard had one in his first start for us, and I thought he looked great. He seemed to kind of be the target of attack for us, knowing that Pep was going to play Saka pretty closely. Overall, the outcome seemed to be in our favor, though, kind of like what I said. I'm not super upset about it outside of being knocked out of FA Cup contention. I'm proud of the way we played and how we responded to Ake's goal, and I'm genuinely excited about being able to focus all of our energy and tactics on the Premier League, starting with Everton on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought that you all
that game was so boring. It was just so boring. Like, yeah, I Winks, I know people in the group message kind of disagree, but I think 100% that Arsenal, if you can say, was a better side, they definitely were the better side. I don't know what it is about City, because they played basically everybody but Ederson, and you could argue that like City's best player was Ortega, the goalie. So like,
he
played amazing. Like, there's not too much of a difference. City against you guys with your second team looked so overly discombobulated it wasn't even funny. Like, so not like the City team that we had seen. And that's why I said in the group message, like, I think I get you can't take a lot of that game away from like going into the Prem. Like, you can say it means nothing, but seeing that the way that City team played, like an Arsenal first team, like with Odegaard, and you add those guys that were missing, like I said in the group message, I think Arsenal rolls them. And City's just going through a funk right now, and Arsenal still should have won that game. If you bring Odegaard and, Martinelli on earlier, I still think they tie or win that game, or at least force a second leg.
I mean, Zinchenko wasn't out there.
Yeah, like,
Ben White wasn't out there. It's interesting, and I agree with you, but I feel like City most of the season has just looked really slow, and I don't know if they're playing a little bit of a different style with Haaland now and not needing to rush up the field quite as far, knowing that they can just send a cross in at any time and hope that Mr. Cheat Code can get on the end of something. But they do look significantly slower on the ball, making decisions than the City team that we've seen in previous years.
Just feels like there's like trouble in paradise with City. Like, I mean, obviously Cancelo went out the door today, who's been like a staple of that City team for the last several years. Cancelo goes to Bayern, and it like comes out today that, he had a huge blow up with Pep, in training like last week about not playing or not starting that game. It just feels like there's some stuff going on. I don't know what's going on with Phil Foden. Kid doesn't see the field anymore. Like, he was like a starter.
He's been
every
doubtful
week.
the last,
yeah.
But I mean, still, like, he's on the bench for 90 minutes, 90 minutes a game, doesn't see the field. And it just feels a little odd. City was super boring, and Winks, to your point of saying like, are wondering if City's changing their play style. Yes, is the answer. They are changing their play style. I'm just a little bit surprised it's taken this long for us to like really see it. And it's never a good look. I mean, I do remember like, not that we'll really ever have to debate Messi or Ronaldo ever again, but I do remember like at the height of those debates, whenever people would talk about how Ronaldo scored like X amount of goals, and he's like, yeah, he put in 5 against North Macedonia or whatever. Like, it doesn't count as like, this big game. And you start to like potentially start to look at Haaland this year, even though he has a ton of goals. If he is just absent, like he was against United in that second game, depending on what he does against you all, Lucas, like in the second half of the season. If he just has an absolute stinker like he did in this past game, like you start to maybe develop this reputation of scoring a lot, but not when it really matters. And that's a weird thing to consider, knowing that he has 24 goals this year. Like it just feels like it's an oxymoron.
But statistically, they're worse this year than they were last year. Statistically, goals expected, they're worse. Points expected, they're worse. And it all stems from so much of City is about control. So much of how Pep likes to play is control.
And they control the ball pretty well.
But how they play in the final third, they're so used to Foden as a false 9 and KDB sliding up to make that flat line of 4. When they're in around the box, they still can keep the ball and don't have to play those high-risk passes into your Haaland to try to finish it. So when they get to the final third, they're almost trying to force that high risk pass, which previously they didn't have that Haaland to finish it. So they're still definitely adjusting. This is one of those, like we're talking about Pep Guardiola. We're not talking about David Moyes. Like he's going to figure it out. But at the same time right now, they're definitely going through that transition of how do we play with Haaland because they're not there yet. Like before the season, let's all not be naive. Like we didn't say that this City team is going to be the best City team that we've ever seen. Like we all said that. And they're not. Because they're definitely still adjusting.
One thing I will say, I just think it's actually kind of funny though that like I'm not taking away, and I will agree with you guys, like Haaland did not perform well in that game, but also I think it's hilarious that if he doesn't score a hat trick, we think he's having a really bad game.
100%. Yeah.
Like that is actually comical. Like if he doesn't score a goal, we think he plays a bad game. Like I still think he impacted that game and he had chances and created some chances as well. So I think it was like this man was absolutely awful, never touched the ball.
He's not he's the best goal scorer. He's not a complete striker.
Yeah, he scored 25 goals. Like
and there have been times
more than one goal. Like
there have been times where he's only scored one goal in a game though, and we still felt that same way.
I still feel that way. Like Harry Kane can do every single thing that Haaland can do. Haaland can't do everything that Harry Kane can do. And that's a fact. That's the difference
at all. I don't think Harry Kane can do everything Haaland can do. Nowhere near.
You're delusional.
You're delusional. You're delusional.
Hold on. Picture this. So we've seen, and I can't believe I'm defending Hoove right now, but
I know.
Don't clip this. This is, for the record, this is more about shutting Nick up.
You're on your own right now, Nick.
On my own. The man has 25 goals halfway through the Premier League.
Okay, you are completely forgetting.
He's an amazing goal scorer.
You are completely forgetting what team Haaland is on and what team Harry Kane is on.
You guys just said they're not playing that well.
He's not getting balls from an uninformed Sonny. He's not getting any balls from Kulusevski after the 60th minute because he's freaking gassed. Like he's not getting the types of chances.
Doing it in the Premier League, the hardest league,
Haaland
the hardest defenses. The Bundesliga was a farmers league for him. He shouldn't have done it here.
We can settle this.
Last year, they're statistically worse. Why do you think they're not?
But you're
first?
saying no. I agree with that, but I just think it's funny. I'm bringing up the fact that I think it's hilarious that we're criticizing him when he doesn't score a goal. Like the man scores many goals. I'm criticizing
when he doesn't score a goal. He doesn't affect the game in any other way. He doesn't drop deep in the midfield. He doesn't link up play.
I agree with you. Harry Kane does that way better, but
that's a complete
that
striker.
Haaland does in front of goal, Harry Kane cannot do. Or else you'd have 25 goals halfway through the season.
If he was
like
3 inches taller,
it's like arguing with a wall.
Well, no, I'm bringing up good points. What do you mean?
I mean, the initial debate is that Erling Haaland cannot do everything that Harry Kane does, but Harry Kane can do everything that Erling Haaland can do. So
scored left foot, right foot headers, but outside the box too.
Yeah. So to Dobes' credit, like Erling Haaland cannot drop deep, affect the play from anywhere else in front of goal. Like he cannot do that.
Absolutely, and I never said he could.
Well, that's exactly the whole debate.
No, it's not. The debate is that Harry Kane cannot do the things that Erling Haaland does in front of goal. I think Erling Haaland does them at a better level than Harry Kane. Scoring goals, I think Erling Haaland is better than Harry Kane.
So
Butch,
you don't
Butch
think
settled
Erling
this.
Haaland can go
Yeah,
get a ball that's
Butch, put him
take
in
it
his-
away.
But it's
Shut
Let's
him
put
up.
him in his place, man.
All right.
Put him
What
in his
up? He has
place.
25 goals halfway through the year, guys.
Nobody's saying he's not a great goal scorer.
That's what you're
Nobody's
saying. You're saying Harry Kane can do exactly what he does in front of goal, and he can't.
Yes,
That's a lie.
yes.
He
Harry
cannot.
Kane has done it in the Prem since he's been in the Prem.
25 halfway through? No. Harry Kane gets 25 at the end of the year. That's what he gets.
Bro, Harry Kane's
You've
in
never
that
seen
City
it before.
side. He's scoring that many goals.
I don't agree.
He's scoring that many
I
goals.
don't agree.
He's doing it.
I'm not a clown. I don't agree at all.
Butch.
I said that
Hold
Erling
on.
Haaland
Hey,
wouldn't
hey.
do it, that he was coming to the Prem, and look what he's doing.
Hey, let's stop the cap.
Oh, man, we said this was going to be the
Okay.
best City team in the universe in the history of football, and they're in second.
All right, I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
it short. If I had a, I'm gonna pretend like I even had a checkbook. If I had a checkbook at Longford High School, okay, my boss said, "Here's a blank check. You can sign one of the two for your team." I am undoubtedly choosing Harry Kane. Undoubtedly, because I agree that he does more. He does more in the like Dobe said, like the complete aspect of a, when you think of a striker, you think of a 9. He can do everything. I don't think Haaland, like if I ask Erling Haaland to drop into my midfield 50 yards from goal and spray a 60-yard ball on a dime to my winger, he's not doing that. Harry Kane's doing it. And then Harry Kane's getting in the box and he's scoring left foot, right foot, header. I mean, dude, I would choose Harry Kane.
I think the
That's
scary
fine.
part
That
about it
is
is,
fine.
and this isn't even ragging on Haaland. Haaland is young. This is what I mean. Under Pep, Haaland's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's only going to get better. He's going to learn to be able to drop in. He's going to be able to learn to do these things. He just can't do it yet. Like
No.
by no means, Haaland is at a rate. If you look at the rates of
Alien.
when
Freak of
Ronaldo
nature,
and
what people say.
Messi and all those guys were younger, Haaland is scoring at a rate that's greater than anybody in the history of the game has done. Ever.
Exactly. Something
But
Harry
he's-
Kane has not done.
But Harry Kane plays. Harry Kane.
You're
plays-
making our point
Hold
forward.
on.
No, you're making the pay for me.
No.
Haaland is better than Harry Kane scoring goals.
Hold on, dude. Harry Kane plays.
We're
in
saying he
a-
can do that.
He plays in a
We're saying he
system
can do that.
that is so. The system he plays in at Tottenham is so disheartening to watch.
Yes, I agree.
Nobody's
If
going to
you-
score
if
that
you
many goals
put-
on such a counter, specific team.
If you put
They
Harry
want
Kane
the
in
other team to have
City-
the ball.
Dude, if you put Harry Kane in Manchester City's 9,
Wouldn't be doing what Haaland's doing.
bro,
I
dude,
think, but
I
City
promise
would
you,
be better.
Harry Kane would be.
I don't
scoring-
disagree with that. I
Yeah,
do
because-
not disagree with that. That is not what I've been arguing. Winks, I don't know why you guys are doing that. That's not what I was arguing. Are you guys not understanding what I'm like saying? Like
No,
In
not
front
Our
of
all.
goal.
listeners aren't going to understand either.
yes, they will. I think it's hilarious how many comments we're probably gonna get for me on my side because you guys are destroying Haaland
what
and
is-
saying
what
that
is your
him and Harry
side?
Kane are.
We're not destroying him, bro.
Nobody's destroying.
What
Nobody's
you just said that they're equal. You said Harry Kane and Haaland in front of goal. That he can do the exact same thing. That's
He
a
can
lie.
do more.
That
Nick,
They
man.
haven't scored 25 goals.
What? I can't. We
I'm
need
not going
Hoof
over
here.
the same argument. Let's go to the next
We
one.
need Hoof here so bad.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
I think who would agree with me? He thinks he's a
No.
freak of
Oh.
nature.
I
He's
think
already
you're-
Can I say one more
really-
thing about the Arsenal City game before
Yes,
we move
please.
on? Trossard looked awesome. He looked
I-
like he fit in that side so easily. To be honest with you, like I think that there are some times when I look at players, that don't play for Arsenal, by the way. And I look at them and I'm like, man, they're an Arsenal player. They just are. Like I don't know, some part of me like still feels that Tyler Adams might go to Arsenal at some point just to like sit in that CDM role. When I watched Trossard play, I never got Arsenal player. Never. It just wasn't something that crossed my mind. He played 66 minutes in this game and he played like not even a half against United. That kid is an Arsenal player. He just fits in perfectly to the system.
Martinelli's got some competition for sure. I
He
still
does
rate
have
Martinelli,
competition.
but like that's only going to make both of those players that much better.
Yeah,
I
and
think-
what's great is Martinelli's so young so young. So to not put like the world of expectation on him at what is he, 19, Winks? Like he's a kid. To not put the world of expectation on him at that age and have Trossard that he can like learn from and also share minutes with. I think that's great. What a great signing for you all. I'll be so fascinated to see if anything happens for you all tomorrow on deadline day, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Trossard. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and just to set the record, I thought he was 20, but Martinelli's 21, actually.
Nice.
Regardless, super young. Nikki?
Yeah.
I was just going to say I was going to give Dobes. I think Dobes put it in the Mecca the other day. Ramsdale said something about like Trossard's coming in for like fighting for a starting job. And like I definitely, you could see it when he was playing. Like he didn't come in here to be a sub or be someone that comes off the bench. Like he's going to fight for a starting spot. And I thought that was really cool to see.
I think that's the interesting piece to what Arteta's kind of doing in this transfer window. And I know that, for everyone listening, we're going to do a more in-depth transfer walkthrough later this week for you guys. But I feel like the signings that he's making, even Kiwior, once he gets accustomed to the system, and I think that he's going to also make an attempt at getting a starting spot too. He's not really, yes, he's signing people for depth on the surface, but I think that those players aren't coming to Arsenal thinking that they're going to be depth players. I think that they all come in with the intention that they're good enough and that they're going to be able to fight for a starting spot, minus Jorginho if he comes. Hopefully not.
That would be such a weird signing.
So
it'd be a weird signing, but it very much could like inject new life into his career. I mean, obviously we all have thoughts on him at Chelsea. It wasn't so long ago that there was debates on this podcast about Ballon d'Or shouts for Jorginho, but
he was playing good.
Arsenal fans all day today were posting what do you finish, like 4th or something like that? Arsenal
Third,
fans all day. Arsenal fans all day were like,
it's weird, bro.
number 3.
But it could be a career revival kind of thing, and I do believe that that Arteta would have him play very differently than Potter or Tuchel had him play. So we'll see. But
how so?
I think how so?
Yeah.
I just think that the system's entirely different. So with Chelsea, like just from a fundamental like breakdown of system, like they do like a really weird like 5-3-2 most days or 5-2-3 most days, and that's just like very counter, or it's just really different than how Arsenal plays. So I think
from minute one, from minute one,
I think it's just different. So like Jorginho will like typically when he's at his best, he'll pick up the ball off the back 4 and then like make a pass forward or like sideways, whatever. But it's not depending on him to be the all or nothing player that like dictates everything for the entire game. So you get someone like that to rotate with Xhaka, and Jorginho's not going to make as many like runs forward as Xhaka does, but like he can still like occupy the same space and pick up the ball off the back 4. It may not be such a bad rotation player, and I don't think Jorginho would go in and give Xhaka a run for his money, but Jorginho's also not going to go into like a top 5 team in the world at this stage of his career. I think an Arsenal move's a really great move for him. And if he doesn't go to Arsenal in tomorrow, he may go to a much lesser team in the summer. So it would just be fascinating if it happens. Not saying it will, but it would be fascinating.
Great point.
The only reason I asked was I think he's way past his time, and I'd be interested to see how he revitalizes his abilities.
I mean you got to think like,
pass by every
think
player in the Prem right now.
And by no means am I saying that, like comparing these two, but like 31 is by no means like old. Like look at Busquets, look at other defensive midfielders that like a career change in the right system and just getting away from Chelsea could potentially do him good. I don't know if Arsenal's that move, but like I still think there's a player there. It's just
absolutely. And to be fair, we mentioned it. Like, we all don't agree that he was probably a top 3 candidate for the Ballon, but like he was still playing good football, and like he was a part of a Chelsea side that won the
Champions League, so Italy.
Like, exactly. So he definitely was, or still kind of is a good player. I just week in and week out in a Chelsea uniform, I see him get blown past.
It's tough. It's tough watching. Yeah.
Really, really, really tough. All right. Another team that's really tough to watch is Liverpool. So Butchie, you want to take it over on the Liverpool Brighton FA Cup clash?
Yeah. So we played Brighton yesterday, lost 2-1. Late goal from Matoma, who I definitely want us to talk about. I think he's an unbelievable player.
That finish was outrageous.
Yeah,
Gross.
unbelievable.
It was gross. Did you know he was playing at a university in Japan a few years ago? Did you know that?
I saw
Yeah.
that. I saw that. I saw
That's
a story.
insane, man.
What did he go to study? The whatever academy he was in Japan wanted him to sign with either the first team or the reserve team, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna go study physical education and learn more about my body and like how to
Balance
dribble
and,
better and all
yeah.
this stuff," and then just becomes a baller.
It's
So cool.
unbelievable.
It's
Yeah.
it's a unique path.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, yeah, the goal was class, but there's a lot to be said about the whole year in general for Liverpool fans. I think I've already spoken a lot about the injuries. I don't want to touch too much on it. Obviously, we're going to be different when we get Diaz back and Jota back. They're going to help revitalize our front line, no doubt. Young, 25 years old with pace, but I think this is just it's a year where I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think like you understand what I mean? Like we won in the last 3 years, we won the Champions League, we won the Premier League, we won FA Cup, we won the Carabao Cup. Like we won everything, but have we finally hit that, that part where
Yes,
maybe
you have.
this team
Yes,
just
you
can't
have.
really do it anymore? Like we got to get.
How good does it feel to say that?
Dude, it's amazing. I've been waiting so long for this.
Yeah, but but you guys, I got to be honest, and I don't think you guys are going to disagree. Like you watch this team
not.
play, it's nowhere near the heights that we're used to. And it's weird to say because there's a lot of world-class talent in the squad. So that's why it's tricky. It's like, what is going wrong? Is there something like, is Klopp, is he getting burnt out? Is
They Klopp out?
No, I'm saying, is he getting burnt out? Like he's been there 8-9 years.
I know,
good
and
question.
I'm saying Klopp
It's
out.
a good question.
Is he, or are the players just not responding to him like, like they were in the past? Is it kind of hitting that point where maybe a lot of the guys who've been there throughout his whole tenure, guys like Salah, guys like, Van Dijk's been there 5 years, Robbo's been there 5, Trent 5, like they've been there a long time. So it's like, are they just not responding to his motivational, psychological skills anymore? And it's just something to think about because it happens almost at every club eventually, like Jose Mourinho at one point was one of the best managers in the world. And he won the Premier League with Chelsea. And the following year, they were 16th at one point and he got sacked, right?
Yep.
He just lost the dressing room. Things weren't the same. And I don't want that to happen to Klopp, but and I don't think we're in that time yet because we're still at the top half of the table and we're not too far off from getting into European places. So we're not talking about that yet, but it's just more like, what does he have to do as a manager to get his squad to get some new energy, to get some new belief, more togetherness? What's it going to take to get that mentality back? So that's the interesting question because right now it's really hard to watch. We look so disjointed. Obviously, a few of our signings haven't hit the ground running and haven't been a huge spark that we thought they would be when we bought them right away. Cody Gakpo, he looks like a flop and a half. I mean,
we've been saying that forever. We always
Oh
knew
yeah,
it was gonna
Dobes.
happen.
Oh yeah. How many times was he your background before you didn't sign him?
Yeah, he needs a good manager.
We'll find those receipts. We'll find them.
No,
Butch, I got a question for you. This is no banter here.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
So,
oh God.
No, seriously, it's the Klopp style, kind of wherever he has been, is that heavy metal, high pressing, win the ball back high up the field, get the ball, counterattack, score. Like, what is Liverpool's style? Because to me, it seems like Klopp hasn't been able to adjust and find a different way of playing when it's not that. Obviously,
this is a good shout. This is a really good shout.
Obviously, injuries in an aging midfield are kind of the key that sets that pivot for how you press. And missing a Diaz who's rapid and having to plug Harvey Elliott in there, and like it just seems like Klopp hasn't found a different style to play with the players he currently has. And this is by no means, obviously, Klopp's an amazing manager, won it all, won a Champions League, won a Prem. But like, I think that's where he's fallen short, is he hasn't found a way to adjust with the current team he has, whether it be sit back in and hit on the counter. Like, we just don't really know what Liverpool are doing right now. And I think that's the biggest issue, is it's kind of like Chelsea at the same time. Like, when you see them play, you don't really know what their style is right now.
Mm-hmm. always said that a great manager is one that can adjust when times are hard. Like, I mean, Dobes, you and I have had to do it with our team, and we have to make adjustments, and a lot of times, luckily for us, those adjustments have worked. But with Klopp, I think right now, to be honest with you, I think the heavy metal, my honest opinion, the heavy metal is not working because they are aging.
Yeah.
Look at Fabinho. That's my prime example for all of you.
That tackle yesterday.
Oh,
That was
2
bad.
years ago, Fabinho was unbelievable. I mean, watching him, he was like, he would break down so many counters against us, and then he would start the counter again. And his ability to retain possession and his decision making was fantastic. Now he looks like he's just lost. He looks like he can't get around the pitch anymore. He can't make the good tackles, not the stuff we saw yesterday. And I look at that and I'm like, man, like we don't have the legs. Salah's 30, Thiago's 31, Hendo's 32, Milner's 36, 37. It's like we don't have the legs to do this anymore. So what do we do? Well, my honest opinion, I think Liverpool needs to focus on becoming more of a possession style team and kind of do what City's doing and really just ball retention, control, create overloads in the wide areas, try and get your wing backs forward and try and make something happen. I don't think this whole press and counter press is going to work. It's just not, they don't have the legs.
You brought up a really interesting shout with Jose Mourinho at Chelsea winning the league and then getting sacked the next season. I'm also in the camp that does not think that Jurgen Klopp is going to get sacked. I just don't think so.
It means too much to Liverpool.
Yeah, it would just be weird. It would just be the weirdest thing.
For a CPG signing.
But the thing is that every era of coaching, every era of football comes to an end. And I'm not talking about the Ten Hag quote at the beginning of the season saying that he's here to disrupt the era.
He did call it though.
He did. But specifically what you're saying, Butchie, of that heavy metal counter press, really high pressing system, that was the system for the last couple of years. And we saw that they won it all because, that was the system that they played. But now you're looking at the teams that are dominating the table. It's very different than that. It just is very, very different than that. We watched City and Arsenal, even though it was a boring game, two of the best teams in the Prem, the two best teams. So, statistics wise, had a slugfest at 1-0. Do you remember the Liverpool City games over the last 4 years? No matter when they played each other, it was 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3. It was high scoring games because it just was that chaos. I just think the system, like you mentioned, Butchie, is just coming to an end. And if they don't adjust into that possession based style, they are going to kind of stay where they are in the table. They're not going to be able to make a run for anything. So I do think that they really need to change their system, and whether Klopp's going to do it, I don't know. The team, to me, from an outsider, it just reeks of needing a different perspective on the team.
Fresh.
Just yeah. And again, I'm not in Klopp out. No, I don't care either way, but I just think that they just need a fresh look of things.
You want them to stay so they keep playing bad is why.
Hell yeah, baby.
Well, I will say, last thing I'll say is every coach has a philosophy and you want to stick to your principles. So you're at the halfway point of this season, but I did talk about, you have to be able to make adjustments and you have to be able to fix the adjustments to make your team win. So I think his biggest focus, he needs to get through the rest of this year by making those adjustments, and they may have to play a little bit different. And then he doesn't have to throw away his heavy metal philosophy. That's him. That's what makes him him. He can get new guys, hopefully in the summer, if he can get some backing, and bring in some young blood, bring in some fresh legs to where he has the ability, because you have to have the players capable of carrying out your philosophy. If you do not have the players, you will not have success. It's just plain and simple. Right?
He is not simple. It's okay.
It's just plain and simple. It's the same thing. If I wanted to do that with my team at Lafayette, if I wanted to play this heavy metal, I can't go out and recruit people. I have to, whatever I have, right? if I don't have the players to be able to do that, no, we're going to do it. We're going to make some tweak some adjustments. We're going to do it a little bit differently. We're not going to go balls to the wall. We're going to get gassed. We're going to lose games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be smart about what you do. I hope he gets through the year okay, so he can spend some money in the summer and get some younger guys. That's the hope.
As much as
go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say, as much as we're dogging on Liverpool right now, I think Dobes had a good shout today in the Mecca. Like Brighton, just like continuously putting out good performances after players leave, coach left. Like what a shock! I didn't.
It's Basuma,
yeah,
Cucurella, White, Trossard, Byrne. Their coach left, and they're still. It's not like they just beat Liverpool yesterday. I don't mean to rag on you, but like they beat United earlier in the year. Like they beat Liverpool 3-0 2 weeks ago. Like with a new coach. What's the guy's name? De Zerbi, if I'm saying that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like we're sitting here talking about coaches like making adjustments based off what you have. And then like look, like Caicedo just didn't show up or didn't train before the Liverpool game, and he didn't play. And they still 100% were the better team against Liverpool. Like it's absolutely outstanding what they've been able to do with what like the resources that they don't have anymore.
Yeah. It's pretty cool to watch. I forgot if I've said this on the pod before. If I haven't, whatever. But Evan Ferguson, the striker for Brighton, my buddy Jason is so high on him. Like literally, I have the receipts, but like probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, like texted me just saying like, hey, just like keep your eye on this Evan Ferguson kid from Brighton. I think that he's going to be the guy. And like, oddly enough, he started the last couple of games, looked great. And then, Fabinho tried to end his career. Yes, last game.
He's the guy who smoked him, right? I was like,
yeah, like what are we doing? But Evan Ferguson, give him a shout. And obviously, like Matoma's been great. But yeah, that Brighton squad, a depleted Brighton squad in the summer and in this window, and still rolling. It's so sick.
And one thing I think that they've done really well is I think that coach Jasherby, I think he sat those guys down and he literally went detail for detail and said, "This is your role. This is the exact thing I need from you. This is where I need you positionally. This is what I need tactically from you. If you carry this out, we will have success." I swear to God, I think he has spent numerous in the training ground just talking through roles because they look like a team of to me, I don't think there's any superstars in that team. It looks like a team full of very, very solid, good role players who know exactly what they need to do to carry out the assignment from the coach and get results. That's what it looks like.
An identity.
Yeah, their identity is, hey man, this is what I'm gonna do. And like look at a guy like what's his name? Sully March.
Oh yeah.
He
killing it.
He's never been a star, right? He's never been a guy that's like, we've never spoken about this guy on the podcast before. But the last few months, I mean, since the new manager came in, like he just looks revitalized. And I think it's because this coach opened his eyes to a role that suits him and suits like his skill set. And you're seeing him cut inside and hit bangers top corner. You're seeing him beat guys one-on-one. You're seeing him make these great third man runs. I'm like, wow, this kid's like, he's good, but we never saw that before. So Brighton,
4 goals, 4 assists, averaging a 7.4 rating, which is ahead of Caicedo, Matoma, everyone else except for McAllister in that team.
That's what I'm saying, man. You get a squad full of great role players, you're going to be solid, man.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they look like, with if Caicedo moves. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Where do you think Caicedo's going to go?
Chelsea.
I don't know.
I feel like it's a fair.
I feel like you can just name any player in the world. Chelsea.
Yeah, it's a fair guess right now.
Yeah, I truthfully don't know. I think it's between Arsenal and Chelsea. I said this in the Mecca earlier. Like, I could see him staying, and what I mean by that is like, Brighton sort of has to set some sort of standard of like, you can't just pull a Ronaldo and post something on your social media and not show up to training, not show up to training and just like not honor your contracts anymore. I get it. Big move, big potential move to a top 6 club. It'll be there in the summer. Like, it'll be there in the summer. And that's why it's like Brighton, who very much is in a European place right now, like has a shot to finish probably their best season they've had in the Prem. Like, why would they want to let him go over him posting an Instagram saying thank you to the Brighton fans without a move even being secured. Like that to me is what's wild.
It's just a weird move to play. And like what's weird is I think we're just seeing it happen a lot. Obviously, Ronaldo did it earlier in the year, but like Antony did that shit like with Ajax, and like United
It's
kind of forced his
new
hand in that, which
generation of
sucks.
footballers.
But like
yeah.
Mudryk the same way of like posting everything about Arsenal. It's just like it's an odd thing that
Social
this like
media.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little odd. And I don't know. Winks, obviously you can speak on Arsenal, but I just have a feeling that Chelsea's gonna like throw the bag for Enzo and also Casado. I just think they will. And like I think Chelsea has collectively spent more than every other league combined in January. They're just like redefining what it looks like to do business and transfers. For years, it was like January, like maybe a squad player here, a squad player there. Chelsea's just like, nah, whole new 11. Let's just do it.
Absolutely. And I know we're going to do a transfer talk podcast coming up, but like one thing I want to say with how much money we're spending is like, it's Todd Boehly. Like, I know you guys were not talking about the MLB, but like he's also the owners of the LA Dodgers. And I don't know if you guys followed how their transfers or their signings go, but they just spend.
They may spend more money than Chelsea does.
That's what
relative
I'm saying.
to the sport.
He is not scared to splash the cash. So by no means was I surprised when he came in and was like, "We're not going to sit here and do nothing and spend."
Where does he make money? Is what I'd like to know, because the amount.
Do I want to look into it? I don't know.
I'll see if I can find it real quick.
All good.
I don't
No,
know.
let's I think that we can move on to the United Reading game. 3-1 comfortable United
Yeah. I mean,
practice game.
I don't have too much to say about it. I mean, before that, I mean, we didn't talk about it. We played Forest last week in the Carabao Cup, the semis, won 3-0 comfortably. Squad rotation's key for us right now. Last week we played Martinez and Varane against Forest. This weekend we played Lindelof, Maguire. But I think Hen and I are both a little bit surprised with the squad we played against Reading. It just shows that Ten Hag wants a trophy. I also think it backfired a little bit because we saw Eriksson get injured. And Eriksson, which a tackle that Andy Carroll just should have been sent off for that, which is absolutely outrageous. But like, I think that's kind of where, and you guys are going to continue hearing me harp on this, but like, we're not going to spend any money. Like, I genuinely don't believe we're going to do anything this January. And that's why it's so hard to get my expectations high, because like literally Hen texted me today. I don't know if you guys saw the Ten Hag quote last week. He was like, asked about Rashford, and he was like, I'm not Harry Potter. Well, like Hen and I have been saying, like, if we somehow stay in top 4 and like win a trophy this year without making a single signing besides like Weghorst, like he literally is, he's a fucking magician. Ten Hag's a magician. If he can get this squad, like the next person off the bench is Fred, and then it's literally, there's nobody. And I'm genuinely like,
it's kids. It's literally kids.
It's kids. And so like, expected 3-1 victory against Reading. I'm happy with the result. I wish Rashi would have got that to set that record. He tied it, but like that offsides call was bullshit. But just a positive result. I mean, expected win with a very much kind of first team lineup. So I don't really have much more to say than that.
Yeah, the only thing that I'll talk about is actually not the game at all. And talk about the next like 2 months. We've talked about fixture congestion as, you know, as fans, as people that have played the sport. February alone, like just the month of February, United has 8 games in February. It's a game every 3 days in February. And then their life just doesn't get any more simple as it gets to like March and April. Dobes, I don't know if you have the actual statistic, but over like, what is it, like the next 2 months, United will play more.
Yeah, it was as of like last week. There's no team in all of Europe in the past 25 years that's played more games in a shorter span of time than United will have over this next month, which is just with the most depleted squad out of anybody in this group.
Yeah, so, like, I do remember as like a listener, as a member of the Mecca, listening to, you know, Butch, you talking about Liverpool the last couple of years and like going deep in all of these competitions and, you know, having, you know, a game every couple of days, and to say that like we're there as well, but with like a slimmer squad, and playing more than you all did at that time. It is crazy. So about Forest and about Reading, comfortable, like Dobe said, I feel great about that. But like Ten Hag has some big decisions to make over the next couple of weeks when it comes to these games, because you're probably going to go to the final. I can't imagine that we lose by more than 4 goals against Forest on Wednesday. But so you're in the final there. Then you play Barcelona twice in the next 2 weeks. And then, you have the FA Cup, which hopefully will beat West Ham and keep going through that. Like Ten Hag has some big decisions to make. And if all you have to do is look at kids, it's going to be tough. Legitimately, Dobes and I are super high on Kabi Mano, number 73 for
He's
the
a
Manchester
baller.
United midfield. Super high on him. But like right now, he is like our first choice because Fred is also on like yellow card accumulations. Like there's a lot of stuff that if we're looking at playing Fred and Casemiro for 90 minutes every game for the next 2 months until Eriksen's back or whatever, it's tough. So I hope that we do something tomorrow. But we were great, in the last 2 games.
I think
Bummed,
it's
like you said,
just
that Rashford didn't get that goal. I was bummed as well.
it's the squad rotation is key. And I texted Hen this today. It's like you almost have to just take each individual game, one game at a time, because like we genuinely don't know. Like again, our first 11, Bruno and Cassie, when they've started together, have never lost. So like those 2 guys are extremely important. As long as Cassie stays healthy, and you saw just drastically how from the Arsenal game to when he hopped back in against Forest, just how much of a fucking different team we are. Like, holy shit. It's night and day. But like we always say, it's like you drop off to McTominay, it's like it is what it is. Well, I think we'll cruise again on. I hope we get some rotation. I hope we play some of the kids on Wednesday. But then it's right back into the Prem to where, like I said, if you ask me right now, would I rather have a trophy or top 4? I'd probably say top 4, because I think that's more vital to our success in the future. And, giving Ten Hag a top 4 spot allows our new owners to come in with Champions League football to attract the top talent that we need to get a Ten Hag style. I mean, we get Sancho back. Anthony actually has looked halfway decent these last couple games. So like, things are positive, but I think that I've been saying the same thing. It's like we can't get too far ahead of ourselves, because with how many fixtures we have, like you just never
It's
really
so
know what's
much.
going to come. It's so
Yeah.
much. I mean, sure, but could we win the Europa League? Could we win 3 trophies this year? I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible. But at the same time, is it likely? No. I think we get one top 4 successful season. Ten Hag's a magician. He is Harry Potter. On to the next one.
I think we're going to see the true cultural shift that Ten Hag has brought when they play Barcelona, because
Barcelona's going to be the
Barcelona,
best team in the world right now, or one of them.
absolutely. I mean, if you look at their stats, I got it pulled up right here, fellas. They have played 18 games in La Liga. They're 5 points clear of Real Madrid at the top, and they've only given up 6 goals in the entire season in La Liga. 6. That's the best defense in all of Europe, and it's not even really close.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see. Like, obviously, Ten Hag is I think is a phenomenal world class coach, and he has shifted the culture. We'll see how legit everything looks when they play against a team like that. Because I don't even know if some of the teams in the Premier League have been putting up some of the statistical numbers that Barcelona have. It's quite frightening how good they are. So that'll be a fun 2 legs.
I think the last thing I have to say before we can move on to United is, I did kind of joke earlier, but like January business, like the best January signing in my opinion has been Bruno. And Nikki, you might want to close your ears like when I say this, but like before Bruno, like the most goal contributions in a calendar year for a midfielder was Lampard. The most goal contributions in the Premier League in a single season in all competitions was Lampard. Most goals scored in the Premier League by a midfielder, like most Premier League player of the months, was Harry Kane. In the very first year that Bruno Fernandes was in the Prem, he shattered all of those. And so January business can be key and switch a season around. And I just hope that our lack thereof it this year doesn't come back and bite us in the ass like I think it's going to.
Yeah, it's gonna be close.
Yeah, you missed out on guys like Isco going to fucking Germany, and you're like, why was it
fucking free?
Yeah, why wasn't he didn't even have a team, by the way. Like he got released. Who didn't even have a team. So like how does that not happen? Like Yeah, obviously Cancelo wouldn't come to us because Manchester, but like, how is that not discussed? We need a right back as well. Like, there's just so many things I could say, but our board it's beyond me how bad they are.
I think what could save before we move on, I think what could save your season, in terms of like you guys were talking about having depth and having some quality is when is Jadon Sancho going to come back? When are we going to see him?
Wednesday.
Okay.
That's my guess. Wednesday.
Yeah.
There was rumors he was going to play Saturday.
Against Reading, yeah.
Against Reading. Came out that day that he wasn't in the squad. But I bet you it's Wednesday. I do think you guys will think we're crazy. I think we have to give a shout out. I'm a big Weghorst fan. Like, I'm a massive Weghorst fan. He has come in and his work rate has been fucking outstanding. If he gets some chances, like, he may score, but his work rate is fucking double what Martial's is.
Yeah,
it's just nice to see. It's such a random obscure player.
No, 6'6", just.
As we transition into the upcoming Premier League games, I did want to mention you brought up Dobe's amount of games played for United is a lot. I feel like a lot of teams have been that way for the past couple of years, and I think Jake brought up a good point, especially with Chelsea. In the past 4 years, I think we've played the most games out of any Premier League team. But it just comes back to the whole World Cup thing and the injury list. But I think that's a great transition to the first game I wanted to talk about, obviously, since we haven't been talking about them because you guys have been talking about the FA Cup and we're not in it anymore, is Chelsea. We play Fulham on Friday. It is the first game of the weekend. And the reason I have Reece James on is he's projected to play in that game. I'm super excited for that. We have a couple of guys coming off of injuries. Ben Chilwell supposedly is going to play. Reece James is supposedly going to play. Trevor Chalobah supposedly is back as well. João Felix is back from his suspension. So coming into this match, I'm really intrigued to see this starting lineup from Potter. I think this is kind of now where I'm going to start being critical of him. I think for the past couple of months, we've all been talking about you can't really judge him on what he's been dealing with and who he has. But now I think he's had a couple of weeks under his belt. He has a lot of players now, some players coming back. And I'm hoping we see some sort of consistent lineup from here on out and hopefully some type of identity in our side moving forward. So I'm super excited about this upcoming game because I also think Fulham is no joke. Obviously they're ahead of us in the table. So I think it's like we have to win this pretty much. So I'm very excited to see how Potter comes out with this game.
This is where the pressure turns on because absolutely. You guys haven't played since the 21st.
It's the first time we've had a week break and like
that's what I mean. Like back when I was like kind of saying that you can't like rag on Potter, I didn't realize that like you guys didn't play for that long. Like you guys actually have time to train and like form somewhat of a system. So this could be sort of that. I mean, as a Chelsea fan, this has to be like the first time in forever you're a little bit excited to see what's coming.
Absolutely.
Because this could be that like start of a run to make the second half of the season here. Because now truthfully, the pressure is on Potter. Because if you're saying these guys are back healthy, pressure's there. No results, then there's criticism.
Isn't this Zhao's third game? Like, is he not back for this game? Because isn't it a 3-game suspension with the red? This would be his third.
It is a 3.
Yeah, so this would be his third game. So he's not back yet. He'd be back for your guys' next game.
The article I'm reading from football.london says he is. I don't know why.
Trust the journalists.
No, he's suspended. He's suspended. I'm on FOTMob. It's under injuries. It has him suspended.
But regardless, I still think some of the other things that I named.
I will tell you, my eyes will be glued to Mudryk.
Yeah.
And if I'm Graham Potter, there's no doubt in my mind I'm starting this kid from the off. He's starting in my team. $100 million signing. We saw his cameo. Kid's got disgusting pace. Oh my God. He is so fast.
And
like, unleash him.
We mentioned Trossard and his kind of hunger to come in and kind of make an impact for a team on the Chelsea side of things and like Chelsea's YouTube and our Instagram and all that stuff. He is grinding. He's putting in extra work after practice. He's the only one on the pitch. There's like videos of him, like it's pouring down rain and he's taking free kicks by himself. in practices, he's hitting as hard as he can shots during the one-on-one drills. So like, I'm super excited, and hopefully
a pro's being a pro.
Yes.
I will say there's only one minor detail that I need to add in there, and it's terrifying for Mudryk. He's playing Timmy Ream, bro.
Yeah.
He's our God and Savior.
Yes, sir.
Love Timmy Ream, bro.
Praise be.
He's got the best hair in the league. No
I'm
cap.
excited. I'm actually excited for this game now because that's Fulham can very much their direction can switch going the other way, and Chelsea can. This is a massive game for both teams. This is a bit like not a season defining, but like this can very much bring Chelsea or Fulham some momentum.
Yeah, this is if we drop points this game, I'm going to be upset and like actually be pissed off. Like these last couple of games have kind of just been like, oh, we're injured. We're trying to get in the swing of it. Now it's like, all right, let's do something. And we actually have to start progressing in the right direction.
Yeah.
It would also be like terrible for your take on you're not scared of Fulham at all.
Well, I don't think it would be a terrible take because that doesn't
Two
determine
losses
the end of the season
against Fulham.
Like at the end of the season, we'll see what the terrible take is. This one game doesn't determine where you finish the end of the season, Henry. But
it is crazy, bro. Between 11th and 6th,
yes,
3 points.
Yes, that's why
Bonkers.
I'm shocked as to how poorly we've been playing recent. Like how we're still somewhat not crazily off.
To be fair, that was the same thing with United last year, and it was the worst year.
That was the worst year we've had in a decade.
Forever.
Did you guys finish?
We were
Europa
in like
League,
fourth
but it was
and
it was the worst season we had in a decade.
Yeah, and we were like in 4th and 5th the entire season, but it was like the worst thing I'd ever seen.
I think that before we move on from Chelsea quick, I think he hasn't been getting shouts because of how good some other center backs have been, like Thiago Silva at 38 years old. Like, oh my God.
Awesome.
He's a freak. Dude.
Rolls Royce.
He's just one of the best, definitely one of the best in the Prem for sure.
Absolutely, dude. Nick,
and I think that is a big reason why like Henry, like we signed so many defenders because that's someone we're gonna have to try and replace, and like it is so hard to replace someone like that.
He's very good.
Quality. All right, the other game wanted to bring up as well. Another Chelsea boy just got recently fired from the manager spot. Is Everton versus Arsenal on Saturday. Everton's coming with a new coach.
New manager bounce, baby. Let's go.
I was gonna say,
I'm all in on it.
I'm all in. What are we thinking? We're thinking that new manager motivation does enough for Everton to take some points away from Arsenal.
Not a 19th place Everton. If it was maybe a
mid dog shit, bro. They've been so bad.
Maybe a mid-table side getting a new manager against a team that didn't just have the majority of their starters rest their most recent game, or at least half the game. No, this is going to be a bloodbath, I think.
Winks, have you ever studied Sean Dyche, his tactical philosophy? Because I'm just curious because I have, and I just want to hear what your thoughts are.
The GOAT, bro.
Dude, he's the funniest character
in saving people from relegation. That's
4-4-2.
He's good at
4-4-2.
So Winks, like we know that Shawnee Dyke's going to come out with his 4-4-2. He's going to play 2 target players up top.
Brexit football.
He's going to have his 2 center mids set up to where they do check back for the ball. One's going to check back. The other one's going to play staggered. And if he doesn't get the ball, they're going to pump it long. They're going to knock it down, and they're going to send their wingers forward. They're going to create 4 or 5 guys in the final third off of a quick transition. So how does Arteta set up to kind of play against a physical 4-4-2? What do you think?
God, I love having Butch back.
I know it is nice, isn't it? Well, knowing his counter tactics, I think that space behind Zinchenko on the wing and having their wingers run up the field is going to be a space that we're going to have to manage better. And whether that's sliding our 3 traditionally center backs, Ben White, Saliba, and Gabriel into the middle and playing a 3 in the back when he pushes up, will be a way to counter that. As we saw against United, Thomas Partey is the fastest player in the Premier League. So he should have no problem. Tracking back.
Is he not still on the floor from Rashford sitting him down?
That was gross.
Anthony's doing ballerina moves too on the sideline.
I love it.
I don't know why. I don't know though. I think I don't know much about Dyke as much as you guys do, clearly, but I think purely knowing that we again were able to rest the majority of our starters against City will benefit us a lot. And prime Odegaard right now, I don't think that any formation adjustment that this new guy makes will have a big enough effect on the way that our guys are playing right now.
That's
The
fair.
one, yeah.
That he can say that right now just pisses me off. Like the fact that he can just sit back.
Dude,
And I'm gonna milk the shit out of it.
God damn.
The new manager bounce is crazy. And Butch, to your point, like the 4-4-2 physical play of Sean Dyche like has always been wild to watch. But he's gotten results everywhere he's gone. He's like kept like every team up except for one. But Everton is in a bad state at the current moment. They also just apparently lost their star boy for 45 million.
I was just
to Newcastle.
That was going to be my
Anthony
next
Gordon.
statement. This is
Like
The most overrated
like-
guy in the Prem.
so weird. Such a weird signing.
Fucking Ellen DeGeneres.
Dude.
I think he's overrated, but I don't think he's bad. Like I think he was definitely good on Everton, like one of their better players. And like him moving to Newcastle, I think is a good signing for Newcastle. For 45 million, I don't know.
I think he's still a like U21 player. He reminds me of Alonga.
Yeah, what's interesting is I think Everton tomorrow is going to be one of those teams that like comes Saturday. And again, we're recording this on Monday, but like I think Everton, they were linked to Gallagher. Like they may make a bid, so he may be with them on. I don't know if he'll start, but like he may be with them. I do think Arsenal cruises, but like if there's kind of one manager you want for like one game to kind of muck it up, I hope that Arteta and him like get into it because they're just the most like fiery polar opposite like styles of play that you can like have.
Thankfully, Arteta's always been cool, calm, and collected on the sidelines. So I don't
never doing any antics or anything like that.
Couldn't be my man.
It'll also just be the funniest thing to see, like Arteta's like beautiful hairstyle and just like tan skin, whatever, and then Sean Dyche just like big burly, like bald head. Like it'll just be so funny to watch.
Kind of bald, kind of ginger, like whatever it is now.
And it's a representation of how they play football too. So
yeah, I mean, it's just bad.
Winks, the one thing I think you should be a bit not worried, but just like a little concerned about is like when you get a new coach, obviously you're going to get some belief instilled in you if you're a player. Like you have a new guy coming in, you have new ideas. I think that place is going to be absolutely rocking on Saturday morning. I think then the atmosphere is going to be nuts. Like the fans are going to be wild. And I think it's going to be a tough place to come in and play for his first game. Like it's going to be hard.
So like Everton is like one of the most historic clubs in the Prem, and they're currently going through very much the same like Glazer out situation.
Yeah.
At Everton, like the fans have been protesting, the fans have been like rioting, the fans have been doing that entire thing, and again, Lampard goes like instead of the owners. So I think that environment, Butch, that's a great point. That environment is going to be nuts.
It's hostile.
The only thing I'll say to that is if I don't think it's going to have as big of an effect as you think, because we just played Tottenham away most recently in the North London derby, and we handled that fine. And if there's one stadium that is ever going to, give me a little bit of jitters playing away at, it's going to be our rival,
Old Trafford.
Tottenham. Huh?
What?
Yeah, shut up. So I really don't think there are many other teams outside of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that are gonna.
That's fair.
Concern me, and if we can
on his high horse, guys,
against...
we're not going to get him off.
Say what?
He said, "You're on your high horse. We're not going to get you off."
Yeah, nobody's getting me
Arsenal's
off.
winning. There's no.
They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose, and all of a sudden Winks is gonna be busy next Monday night, and he's not gonna.
He's not gonna be on the pod.
I am not Butch. Don't you dare.
Wait, hold up, man.
And speaking of Butch possibly missing next week's podcast, Liverpool plays Wolves on Saturday. Butchie, are you expecting a result in that one?
It's going to be interesting, man, because we've played Wolves twice in the last 3 weeks. We had to replay an FA Cup game that we drew the first game, and then we won 1-0 away at Wolves. We did win, and we're back there at Molineux tomorrow, or I'm sorry, this weekend. So I'm a little nervous. Wolves, they're struggling. I think it's kind of similar to Winks. Winks's game. Wolves is in the relegation zone. They're having a horrid season. They've already gone through a new. They fired their manager that they had at the beginning of the year. They've got Julian Lopetegui in. I'm nervous because of the things I spoke about earlier, and I don't know what Liverpool I'm going to watch. That's why I'm nervous, and I just want to see a little bit of the old, get rejuvenated into this team, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I could honestly see us squeaking out a 1-0 again. I think Mo Salah could have a moment. One of our guys can just step up and have a moment of brilliance, and then we kind of hunker down, which is not our MO, but we'll see what happens, man.
Something that it's been weird. I noticed it a lot in, what was it, the FA Cup that you just played? Gakpo's been playing down the middle. And even when him and Darwin are on the field at the same time, Darwin's playing off the left, which is wild. Why? Why is that?
One thing I don't like about what I've seen from Gakpo is like when he plays in the 9, he offers us no vertical runs that are going to be effective, and they're not going to scare the back line. Does that make sense? Like he's not gonna, like, the thing about Darwin, he may have missed a lot of chances and you guys have trolled him for. The dude is rapid.
Yeah.
Absolutely rapid. He's going to go vertical, and then the center backs are going to be sweating a bit. They're going to be like, okay, he just burned me once. Now I got to be extra cautious. Now I got to drop 3 to 5 more yards to play it safe. And that just gets them all out of sorts. Mm-hmm. So like if I'm a Klopp, I'm moving Darwin back in. I'm saying, look, man, you keep doing what you're doing. Keep making your runs. Eventually something's going to fall. I would slide Gakpo back out. I just don't think he doesn't have that killer instinct of a 9 to just make consistent runs over and over. Like Darwin he's a workhorse though, man. And that's what so
I mean, Gakpo isn't a 9. So it's weird to me watching when they're on the field at the same time that's the space that he's occupying. I mean, even when we were watching him for the Netherlands in the World Cup, he would be on that left and he would play like on the left half of the field. So every like run he would be making in the middle of the field started on the left. It would be like diagonal or across and then forward. Whereas like if you're just kind of like stuck in, I think the same thing about Rashford sometimes. Whenever Rashford's playing the 9, we lose we lose his like vertical ability, like you just said. But when he's out on the wing and there's space to kind of check to and then get in behind, that's where he's the most dangerous. So maybe that's Klopp's thought with Darwin, knowing that he is faster and quicker. Maybe that's the thought, but it'll be something to watch against Wolves if they both start.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a tight one, but I'm excited for the United Crystal Palace game because I really enjoy watching Crystal Palace. I think Patrick Vieira I like his philosophy. I've broken down the analysis of how he sets his team up. They've got some ballers in this team, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They got a few ballers.
Those of you guys who watched it, like we played them the 18th or 19th of this month, like 1-1. Like who scored the free kick? It was 90th minute. It was Elise. Elise scored that 90th minute like worldie. I think it's so hard for me to like predict this game even a little bit because we play Wednesday. I mean, like ideal situation, we have some squad rotation Wednesday against Forest. I could see maybe Maguire, Lindelof again, or like Maguire, Martinez, like because we're up 3-0 going
against Forest. Okay,
because we're up
Crystal Palace.
Right? We're up 3-0 going into that game Wednesday. So hopefully we can get some squad rotation, maybe get Bruno some rest. I don't even know if we can though because with Eriksen out. So like it all sort of depends on it all depends on how like who we play on Wednesday. But I think the squad rotation will be key. And at Old Trafford, we've won our last 10 at Old Trafford. Like he's turning Old Trafford into a fortress again. I think in Europe we're like 4th behind like Newcastle, Barca, and somebody else for like total shutouts in all of Europe. Mm-hmm. So like if it's our starting back 4 in Cassie, like I'm more confident going into that game. But then again, like we saw how we played against Palace at Selhurst Park. Like 2 weeks ago. And they
It's
have
dreadful.
Zaha on the counter, Elise on the counter, all these guys that can definitely beat you. So we're definitely going to have our A game in order to come out with 3 points. But I'm confident going into it.
Zaha's out apparently though
Money, even better. You just made my day.
on a hamstring injury.
Great.
Sorry, I
Zaha's
probably
out.
should
Might make them better, to be fair.
That
Yeah,
sounds.
if he's out, that's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
Any kind of result. I mean, he just
I'm
offers
confident.
so
Palace. I'm with you, Butch. I do like watching Palace play because they have some dogs that can get at you, and especially on the counter. If you make a mistake, they can make you pay.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, Vieira's not afraid to send the dogs up, dude. Like they attack big time.
I love it.
Man, we've got a tasty one on Sunday, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other big game that we have this weekend is Tottenham Man City. I think we're gonna hold off on it though and save it for when Hoove is on the next pod. But before we do get into Factor Cap, I did want to bring up another team we didn't mention is Leeds and our boy Weston McKennie.
Leeds USA.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did want to bring this up a little bit because I'm not gonna lie, as excited I am to see those boys be on the same team together and build that chemistry, and like I want to see West play every weekend. It's also a lot of pressure for them, like an entire Premier League team kind of riding on 2 American center midfielders to save them from relegation and an American coach. So I thought that was super interesting and kind of want to get your guys' take on it.
I'm excited. I think I saw a pretty cool interview that I watched this weekend when this was kind of rumored. It was West with Chesney. That's the goalie for Juve, correct? Chesney's the goalie there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was talking about West was going through his career, how he sort of started in Germany and got like his feet underneath him playing professional football, and then he went to Italy and kind of learned sort of more of the tactical side of how football works, the different ways to play when you play with Juve. And Chesney sits there and goes, "Wes, you're a Prem player. Like you are built to play in the Premier League. Like he's that type of player that likes to play quick. He likes to tackle. He likes to play fast. He's playing with Wes, who he knows. So I do think it's a step down for him, but I do think that he has the potential to be extremely, extremely successful with the way that he plays in the Premier League.
I think so too. And I also think like from a relegation standpoint, like you just mentioned, Nikki, Wes has been there, done that with Schalke.
Been a part of it.
Great shout.
He understands it. He gets it. It's a loan deal right now with the option to buy at the end of the season if all goes well, but no pressure on that happening. I'm bitter as all get out about him going to Leeds. Not saying that United was ever in for him, but we brought it up on the last pod, but like they got handed that 15-point deduction or 12-point deduction or whatever, which means they needed to like liquidate some players, and any like football club with like 2 functioning brain cells would have gone after some of their midfield players because they have such a surplus of midfield players. And United didn't do it. They could, the loan fee was at 1.2 million. It's less than Veghorst. So being able to do that in a role that like United desperately needed sucks ass. But I think that going to Leeds, I think will be great for him. Step back in terms of pedigree. Leeds is not Juventus. However, the Prem is ahead of Italy in terms of like the overall competition. You have guys, Nico Zaniolo from Roma is being linked with Bournemouth right now for 30 million, which is the most random transfer I've heard of.
Keylor Navas is linked to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, guys just want to come to the Prem. That's just what it is right now. So I'm stoked for Wes. I think Wes and Tyler together will be great, but I echo that nervousness for the Americans in the middle and Jesse Marsh. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be bigger than just Leeds going down. It's going to be the focal point of the conversation is those 4 collectively. But I am stoked to watch him week in and week out. I already watch Leeds every week, and it'll just give me that much more reason to watch it.
Love it.
I think his first game at Ellen Road, like the Leeds crowd is nuts. I think his first game at home, I'm pretty sure that's against United because we played it back to back.
I was about to say it's on Wednesday.
But I think we play them at home and then back to back we play them next away.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Wes
you
against
get Wes
Cassie.
twice.
Let's go. Wes against Cassie. Let's go.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah. All righty. And last but not least, our favorite segment of the Mecca of Banter podcast. Butchie, take it over for our fact or cap of the day.
I will say it's good to be back doing this, man.
Woo, woo.
And I'm gonna make it a little bit different and unique today.
Look at you. Look at you.
So we obviously
Will Haaland score more than 40 goals?
My bad.
For the consistent listeners, that's a joke.
So obviously we just hit the halfway point. So I'm going to give you all 3 choices. You have to select one. So essentially you're saying the other 2, it's a cap. But the one you choose is your sure winner. Okay. Who will be your Premier League PFA player of the year at the end in May? Erling Haaland, Martin Odegaard, or Bukayo Saka?
And Saka's not even close.
What?
Yeah. No.
Bro.
I'll go so fast. I'm going to say Odegaard.
Hen's like, there's not a United player in that top 3.
Rashford is clear,
Where's
bro.
Marcus Rashford?
No,
Where's Marcus Rashford?
No. Before you guys answer, like I wrote this down on my thing here. Like I chose, so obviously like it's going to be hard for a team like United to push for the title. It's going to be hard for Tottenham, like all those other clubs that are around the 4 or 5 spots. Newcastle. It's going to be hard. Like it's going to come down, I think, to us two. Like those Arsenal City games they're going to dictate what's going to happen. Like, so
Odegaard.
I don't know. These 3 guys pop in my head. I just can't believe you threw Saka out the window like that. Like he's had
a great year. Don't get me wrong.
Let's say he finishes the season.
I was about to say
13 goals, 13 assists, and they win the league because he has 7 right now.
Butch started the sentence with we're halfway through the season. So we can pick who, like right now for me it's Odegaard clear, as I would hope it is, minus Nick because he's on Haaland's wiener. But
Nick's gonna debate Harry Kane.
Common sense.
I think
okay.
Odegaard. I think the only way that Arsenal win the league is if Odegaard's their best player. I think
okay, so I'll expand on the Saka thing because I'm just going to make a statement, and Winks, you can argue with me all you want. I think Odegaard makes Arsenal tick a lot more than Saka does, like a lot more. And I think Saka is incredibly well-rounded. That is not a slight to him whatsoever. I think he's
hard to
starter.
hate Saka.
Yeah, he's a starter in the England team.
He's such a gem.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's generally the role that a central midfielder plays versus a winger anyways, regardless of, whether we're talking about young player of the years or whatever. Center midfielders just naturally have much more of an impact on the game because they get on the ball more and, distribute a lot more than a right wing would. So I'm in agreement with you there that both Odegaard makes our team better, but also not to knock Saka, dude.
The answer is Haaland. The correct answer is Haaland.
But why?
It depends on how you guys determine your player of the year. If you pick it off of the best team and the best player, then by all means, you guys can take Odegaard. But that's the same thing that happened when Liverpool won and Jordan Henderson won it. We all disagreed that he shouldn't have won it. Haaland is doing something we have never seen before, ever. And if he scores 50 goals, he deserves player of the year.
So
that's what I think.
50 goals.
Yeah.
And they finish second.
Yeah.
I think worse than last year.
Yeah, I think he deserves it 100%. He's player of the year. They've never seen it before.
That's a good shout.
It is a good shout. It's something that's never been done. You can't deny that. It's just factual. It's never been done.
Yes.
I will just have such a hard time believing that if Arsenal goes on to win the Prem, it won't be Martin Odegaard.
Oh, I agree with you.
And barring he gets hurt. You know what I'm saying?
I think if Arsenal wins the Prem, he will win it. Do I think that's right? No, because I think Haaland will have the crazier season, break the record.
So are you picking Haaland?
Yeah, I think Haaland should.
So you picking City to win the league?
Okay, now
You're no, but this is.
no,
This
I
is,
get what you're saying. I
this-
get what you're
This is
saying.
the statement you're making right now because if
Yes,
you're picking
I
Haaland,
think
you're saying
I'm
City are
picking
coming
Haaland.
back.
Yes, I think
So
City.
City are winning the league.
Yeah, I think City comes back.
Winks, how do you? Winks is like what? Are you serious, bro?
I'm just like you said earlier, arguing with a wall after the argument earlier this episode.
Just brought up great facts, and you guys
Everybody's
don't have a response.
entitled. Everybody's entitled to
That's
their
your guys'
opinion.
go-to is I'm talking to a wall.
I think that
Unreal.
I almost think that Arsenal winning the league is like the lesser of two evils though, because like Arsenal winning almost makes
I
it
hate
seem
Arsenal.
like it seem like it's possible to everybody else though. Because I think
I-
like going into this season,
yeah.
we thought that like City was the clear on favorite to where if Arsenal wins, it really seems like I don't think United's that far off of Arsenal. We're a few
Yeah.
players.
I
I think it
saw
makes it
this.
seem like it's possible more than City winning again.
Absolutely. I saw this video and it kind of like not make me absolutely hate Arsenal as much. But it pretty much was saying it like brings hope back to the Premier League of like a team having trust in their manager, them building a side, having identity and having success. So like I definitely agree with you there. Like it's probably good for the Premier League. I just absolutely hate Arsenal.
Oh my god, the Mecca would the
You
Mecca
hate
would
what you
be-
wish you
the
had.
Mecca will be an absolute nightmare for
I know.
like a full calendar year.
That is why. That is the only reason why we will not be able to like here's what like
I
let's
kind
say
of want
they
to switch to Holland now too. Holland.
let's just say they
And
do
it's not
win,
because
and
of
then, like,
me.
the
Yeah.
next year they're awful.
It's not Winks.
Like,
It's not
yeah,
Winks.
true. Just all the
Uh,
other Arsenal fans.
Butch,
Uh-huh.
what
And
were
I
your
hate
thoughts?
that about
What do you think?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I'm in agreement. Like, I didn't think that we should just kind of shun Saka out right away because he has been pretty phenomenal. And if he doesn't win Player of the Year, which he's not my pick, I just wanted to give him some love. He's definitely going to be the young Player of the Year. There's no doubt in my mind. Like it's probably already done. Like he's 21, 7 goals, 7 assists in 19 games. He's well on pace to
Did
be
he win
double
it?
digits for both. His team's in first.
Who won it last year?
Um
Was it Phil?
young Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I can look it up. I
That's a great
thought
question.
I didn't even know if Saka was still able to win that. That's why I was asking.
I mean, he's 21. Yeah, I would assume that he's still eligible. I think it cuts off at like 23. But he'll be a lock for the young Player of the Year if he doesn't win it. But my pick
Where's
is
Phil?
I think I said it on the last episode I was with you guys. Like Odegaard is my pick right now. I think Saka's like he's had an unbelievable season, dude. And I think he is the gem of like I'm officially saying it. I think he's better than Phil Foden at this moment. He's a better player than Phil Foden. And I used to be huge.
England
on
have some disgusting young
I was-
wing options.
So
100%.
regardless of that cap statement you just said, they do have a good, decent.
100%. And I will say this, this pains me to say this because I freaking hate United, dude.
Thank you.
Say
But
it, baby. Give it to me.
Give me Garnacho, baby. Give me Garnacho.
No, bro. Like I hate saying this. If we saw this Marcus Rashford since the first game in August, bro,
He's a top 5 player in the world right now.
Bro.
He's a top 5 player in the world.
bro. If Marcus Rashford
Nick,
was
don't
playing
even
like-
do this right now. We'll be here for another hour.
No,
Don't do this.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying like if Marcus Rashford
Yeah,
had
get
started
ready.
started the season like he's playing these last
didn't
12
score.
games,
I
bro,
know.
he's
Calm
player
down,
of the year.
Dobes. Calm down.
Bro, he's player of the year. If he would have done that since August, because he's disgusting, bro.
Is
I
there
have
any
nothing
scenario
but
that
good
he could
things.
end as player of the year this year?
What's
Good
up?
match.
Is there any scenario that he could end player of the year this year?
I mean,
Absolutely
if you guys
not.
win the title,
But that
Which-
won't happen. I'm sorry. I just don't. They have to make up. Arsenal's
Far too much.
Arsenal's got a game in hand. If they win that, they would be 14 points clear of United. I mean, that's a lot.
It's way too much.
We've seen Arsenal collapses before.
We have.
yeah.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah,
for
but
it.
Yeah,
But
but
if they
you
collapse,
you
City's
talked
gonna
about
be
that
better.
being right
That's
at the
also when they
beginning of
weren't
the new
playing in the-
year, Budzo. So
they're-
But the new
And
year.
here we are.
technically- The new year is technically like halfway through the season, but this year it's a little different. So it could just be starting. It's gonna be our boy Sean Dice this weekend starting it.
Bro,
That would be so sick.
It'd be
so sick.
all right, fellas.
So we all got Odegaard and Nick's got Haaland. All right,
Yes.
I'm gonna mark this down. I'm writing this down because I'm going to ask you again at the end of the year when the short list gets released. I'm going to ask you guys again before it comes out.
Absolutely.
And
Haaland has like
all
40 goals.
those three players aside, I will say that I'm excited to see, because obviously we are halfway through the season, so we have a lot more games to watch. So it'll be cool to see what other players kind of start to come alive in this back half of the season. And there's still a ton of time for things to happen. People get hurt, teams fall off, whatever the case is. So I think that we're in for a fun second half of the season, starting with the end of the transfer window tomorrow, or sorry, 2 days from now. But I will say that that on Friday we're going to be recording an episode where we almost exclusively talk about the transfer window, grading our individual teams, talking about key transfers across the league. And until then, Nikki, go ahead and sign us off, baby.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wanted to mention, I think we're kind of in for a crazy 24 hours. We're recording this the night before transfer window is closed, and I think we are in for a treat. So next Friday, as Winkleman said, we're going to kind of do a deep dive.
I love Winkus.
Sorry,
Winkus,
sorry,
baby.
Winkus forever.
We'll do a bigger deep dive into those transfer targets, because Chelsea spent the bank. But as always, follow us on all of our social medias. Listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast. And you know what? Leave us a comment. I want to see comments on some of our stuff. Start some banter with us. I haven't been able to
let us know what you want us to talk about too. Like if there's anything that we're not talking about, let us know.
Hey, we're the Mecca of Banter. We want to talk, boys. Come on.
Probably tell you to fuck off, but still do it.
All right. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
Peace.